I just want to make the point that being an elite athlete is actually not healthy, and it's really sad that regular people are given advice for elite athletes. Those diet practices and techniques are not really healthy. The guy that I know personally, he is the fittest person I know. He actually took himself from the starting line of an Ironman to a hospital because he thought he was getting a heart attack, and he was. All the years of having those gels destroyed his arteries.
She grew up under communism, trained for war drills as a child, and later discovered a passion for fitness that changed her life. Today, Veronika Larisova is the co-founder of Chief Nutrition, a company that creates real food snacks made from clean, natural ingredients to fuel performance and support lasting health.
Veronika, welcome to The House Story.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to hear about your story today and also find out a bit about what you're doing now. So why don't we go back to you as a little girl? Maybe you can take us back to a specific memory, or maybe you just want to take us back to wherever you feel comfortable.
Yeah, okay, well, little girl, I think it's probably going to be an interesting story for you guys growing up in Australia, because I was born in then Czechoslovakia in communism, and it was very different upbringing. Funny story, for example, that probably it's going to be hard for you to believe, but from the age of 6, when you start going to primary school, we would have once a month a random war alarm at school, and you had to run to a bunker underneath the school, get your gas mask and your grenades, which are like real grenades but without the ammunition, and get the rifles, and we were practicing for war like every month. We were also graded, like the grenades throwing was one of the physical education discipline, and I was really bad at it. So yeah, growing up in communism, I was fun for a kid, probably not so much fun for adults. But why I'm bringing this up, it's because my dad was born in Second World War, and he spent all his productive years in communism, and so did my mom. So in a communism, there was no privately owned businesses, no privately owned properties. Everything belonged to government. There was no bank loans, credit cards, things like that. So I've never received any financial education. I never even thought about having a business because I didn't even know what it was or that it was a possibility. So I had a very delayed start, and I still don't think I know enough about finances as other people my age know, because I never really paid attention to it until recently.
Yeah, I would actually not have guessed that.
Yeah.
But it's as a byproduct of communism. Of course, you're not going to think about that.
No, you don't, because you can't even own your own house.
Yeah.
Everything is owned by the government. So it's like it doesn't even cross your mind. All you think about is getting a job and then staying in it your whole life, because also in a communism, it was illegal to be unemployed or homeless. So everyone had to work, and if you didn't work, you went to jail.
Gee whiz. Okay, that's very different to the Australian upbringing. So that's interesting. Different. So going through school, did you end up studying afterwards, or did you drop out, or just take me through that process?
I did. I went to study philosophy at university when I was 18. I did that for 3 years. After 1 year, I realized that although studying philosophy is really cool, it'd be really hard to get a job afterwards. So I picked up a librarianship as a subject, and so I'm qualified librarian as well. Goodness. And then when I was 21, I went to the United States and I worked on cruise ships for 2 years. Then I came to Australia when I was 23. And I studied degree in sport and exercise science. And then I just ended up staying.
Wow. Why Australia?
So, funny story. When European Union formed, English started to become the universal language naturally. Everyone started speaking English. And so as a European Union citizen, I had potentially the opportunity to work in any country I wanted. But if I studied again in the Czech Republic, I would again learn everything in a Czech language, and it'd be very difficult for me. So I wanted to study in English-speaking country. I decided sport and exercise science, that's what I want to do. I actually wanted to do it even before. I was applying for physio, never got in. That's why I ended up doing the philosophy, because that was my interest and hobby. So anyway, sport and exercise science. I was working on the cruise ships with all different nationalities, was friends with some Aussies, and I was like brainstorming with them, and they said, oh, you should go to Australia. Like, England is a shitty weather. US, you're already here, and you've never been to Australia, and the Institute of Sport, it's so good, and like it's all about fitness and sports and stuff, like you love it. So I just decided I was going to go to Australia.
Jeez. And then you ended up in Canberra at the AIS?
No, I went to Brisbane, funnily enough, because another thing, Czech Republic gets really cold in winter and I don't like winter. So my childhood goal was to live somewhere where it's always summer.
Yes.
So first, when I worked on a cruise ships, I was based in Miami, Florida. So that was sweet. I had almost 3 years with no winter. And then Australia, it was the option, but I literally asked those guys, where do I go that's got a good uni and no winter? And they said Brisbane. And I didn't even look up anything about Brisbane. There was no social media, nothing. I was like, okay, Aussie said Brisbane, I go to Brisbane. To be honest, I didn't really love it once I realized what it is. Okay. But I did finish the uni degree. It was 4 years. And then I moved to the Gold Coast and then I moved to Sydney.
Jeez. So they were studying exercise phys?
Yeah.
Okay. Why exercise phys? Was there a specific reason?
I really wanted to work in sports. Like I grew up in a very sporty environment. I was a competitive dancer and that's what I always wanted to do. I applied for physio straight after high school, but didn't get in. The system is really different in the Czech Republic and I just didn't get in. So then I chose the sport and exercise science because I was thinking to still do the physio here, but just to have the ex-phys as an opening because of the language barrier and just the difficulty and everything. So I thought I'd start with ex-phys and then after 3 years I can change into physio. And then I didn't end up doing masters of ex-phys instead.
Goodness. Interesting.
Yeah.
What a start. Tell me a little bit about your parents.
Well, my parents, so as I said, my dad was born in the Second World War, grew up and lived his whole life in communism, and he was an athlete. He was always very fit, and he was the driver of all the fitness stuff in our family. So, for example, when I was 2 years old, he mounted like a seat on his race bike, and I'd be on his race bike for his like crazy rides. I'd sit next to him at the gym when he was training. So I literally grew up at the gym and training, whether I wanted or not. So I had very healthy upbringing, never ate any ultra-processed foods because it didn't exist in the Czech Republic. We cooked everything from the scratch. My dad used to make at home kombucha from the scratch, kefir, sauerkraut, like all these things that now they're trending. We used to make it at home because it was hard to buy. I had very, very healthy upbringing thanks to my dad. And my mom, wasn't that healthy when she and my dad became healthy because of him. Well, my mom was a school teacher and because also now that I'm circling back, in the communism, you couldn't get any nice clothes. Everything was like brown and dark green and like there's no nice clothes in stores. So my mom would actually sew clothes for us from like curtains and things like that from her. She made me party dress from her wedding dress and it was different.
Yeah. Supportive parents?
Sorry?
Supportive?
They're very supportive. I still now speak to my mom most days when I drive to work in the morning because it works out with the time difference and they've always been very supportive. I mean, as much as they can be, it's more emotional support. I could never ask my parents financial or business advice because they never had that experience. They can't speak English. They've never been here. So it's emotional support, but no others, like not financial support or knowledge support or anything like that because of the way they grew up and where they live.
Yeah. I see that really got you that one. Yeah. What for you over the past few years has really stood out as being something that they taught you that's really impacted your life here?
Well, the main thing that impacted me, that was done by my dad when I think I was 5 or 6. And my dad taught me to swim at a lake that we used to go to. And the lake is like 1.5K across. And he let me practice for a week. And then he told me, you're going to swim across the lake and I'm going to be in a tinny next to you. And like if you start drowning, I'll pull you out. So I started swimming and I was very little skinny girl, like not a swimmer's body at all. And halfway through the lake, I lost it. I started crying. I was like, it's too hard. I don't want to do it. I'm tired. And my dad is like, but you're not drowning yet. Like, I'm right next to you. If you start drowning, I'll pull you out. So long story short, I finished the leg. I was absolutely exhausted. I've got a picture. My mom took a picture of me. I was exhausted, but I was smiling.
Yeah.
And this stuck with me for the rest of my life. Like, even when you think you can't keep going anymore and you think it's too hard, you probably still always have half left in you.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's gold. Tell me, let's fast forward to today. What are you known for, Veronika?
What am I known for? I think the most I'm known for chief nutrition because I always wear the clothes around and everyone knows me as a chief girl, and I'm being our best promo girl because it's for free and, you know. So I think that's what I'm probably the most known for, and probably for running as well.
Tell us about your running. Can I call it a career? Because I feel like it's more than a hobby.
Yeah, I kind of I'm not professional. Like, I wouldn't call myself an elite runner. I just really love running. And so I always used to, no, not always, sorry. I didn't like running when I lived in the Czech Republic, but I fell in love with running in Australia. And I started running around everywhere to explore, running on the trails. I was about 23, but I have never done any running race or fun run until I was 30 and I moved to Sydney. And I did the Sydney Bay Run. And I came second female, and I realized, I can actually run fast. So then I did the City to Surf, then I did the Sydney Marathon, then I started doing trail races. So yeah, I've done some big runs like the Ultra Trail Mont Blanc, UTA Australia several times. And as I said, I'm not an elite. I never won any of it, but I just really love it. I love participating. I love training for it. I love the running community. And I know lots of people in the running community now after 15 years, and it's a big part of my social life.
Why running? Why did you choose running out of all the sports you could have picked?
Because it makes me feel good. Like, first of all, nothing gives me as much endorphins as running. And I can say it now as well because I've been injured for the last 3 months and I can't run. And I try everything, boxing, swimming, all different classes, weights, everything. Nothing gives me the same feeling as running. It's the ease of it. Like, I can get out of my house, go for a quick run, come back, shower, go to work. I don't have to drive to anywhere, park anywhere. I don't have to book anything. I don't need any equipment. And it's just the sense of freedom. It's outdoors. Like, everything we do for our work is usually indoors, and I don't love being indoors. So the running is the daily outdoors with me. And the community, like, you know, I love certain running groups. I go there to catch up with my friends. I love the community vibe. So there's a lot of things about running that I love.
Do you have advice for someone that might be wanting to get into running or run a marathon maybe in 6 months?
Run a marathon in 6 months. Well, I would definitely, unless they've done it before, I would hire a good coach. I would probably go and get like a running analysis done. There are a few different businesses, they have those treadmills where they analyze your running technique properly. Like it films you from every side. It measures your force on the treadmill.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's a few different places. There's Power Potential in Alexandria. There's Running Room in Clovelly, and they have those devices. They can measure your running technique and tell you where you might have your weaknesses, and you can then address those weaknesses via strength training and other for like mobility training to prevent certain injuries from happening. I also think it's important to have a good running plan in place because let's say if you've never run before and you're a reasonably fit person, you start running and in about 4 to 6 weeks, you start feeling your cardiovascular fitness gets better and you start feeling like you're less puffed and you can run faster and longer. So you start doing that and then you get injured because the ligaments and tendons don't adapt as quickly as your lungs and muscles. They take months and months to adapt. So what usually happens, people feel stronger and fitter, they start running more, and then they start having things like shin splints and sore knees and sore hips because the connective tissue don't follow as quick.
And how do I avoid those injuries?
Well, that's what I said. Get your running analysis and get a good running plan. It doesn't even like, unless you're like aiming for incredible result, I don't think you even need a running coach, but maybe download like a running plan. Most of the websites like Sydney Marathon and Gold Coast Marathon, they have free running plans for like beginner, intermediate and advanced. We have one on our Chief website for free as well. And if all you want is just to do it without injury, that's enough to follow, as long as you follow it. And then if you want to achieve certain goal that's a little bit more advanced, then maybe hire a coach.
And do you have any like dieting advice?
Dieting advice, it depends who it is, you know, and again, what your goals are. Like, are you running to lose weight? Are you running because you want to get fitter? Are you wanting to achieve certain
Let's go with the
goal?
marathon thing.
With the marathon thing. Look, if I was a competitive marathon runner and tried to break the world record, I would probably follow the traditional advice of the carb loading and the gels for the run. If I was just someone who has never run a marathon and I just want to complete it, I would completely stay away from it because it's not healthy. And I just want to make the point that being an elite athlete is actually not healthy. And it's really sad that people are given advice, like regular people are given advice for elite athletes, because lots of the times those diet practices and techniques are not really healthy. Like having those gels is really damaging to your gut, for example. And unless you're trying to compete on an elite level, there's no need for you to have it. You can just have other things if you want to have carbs. You don't even need to eat carbs if you don't want to. So it depends who you are, what is your diet normally, what health issues you might have. It's very individual. And I just know that anyone who tells you this is the diet that's good for everyone, they're either completely clueless or they're trying to sell you something.
That's true.
Yeah.
What's a good substitute for the gels?
Well, I used to make my own. I used to, because I don't like anything artificial. And once when I had those gels, I was vomiting for like a day after. It just really doesn't agree with my
Why have
gut.
I heard that so many times?
Because there's so many chemicals in them. They're just a concoction of chemicals, and it really disturbs your gut lining and gut microbiome. It's not great. So again, unless you're elite and you're really, you're getting paid to hammer your body, why would you do that? So I used to make my own. I used to get those, like you can buy them in any running stores or hiking store, like plastic bottles. They're like squishy bottles.
Yep.
And then I would blend banana or mango with a little bit of coffee, a little bit of honey, just blend it together and have my own gel, or like blend peanut butter into it, whatever. Just like blend of carbohydrates and some quick sugars and coffee, pretty much. Some fats sometimes, depending what run I was doing.
That's a pretty good tip, because I hear, strangely enough, we've spoken to a few big runners or people that have done a lot of marathons or whatever, and everyone seems to always indicate that they get funny tummies after the gels.
100%. And I also tell you a story about a guy that I know personally, and I wrote a blog about it on Chief website. He is the fittest person I know. He's in his late 60s now. And if you see him from behind running, you think he's 30. He's like lean and fit. He's fast. He competes in the Kona Ironman every single year in the World Championships. The fittest person. When he was like 60-something, he actually took himself from the starting line of a triathlon, or Ironman it was, to a hospital because he thought he was getting a heart attack, and he was.
Jeez.
And his cardiologist, who is not holistic doctor, he's just traditional cardiologist, told him that all the years of having those gels, because they're so high in sugar and so chemical, and the high sugar diet destroyed his arteries.
Goodness.
In his heart, and like that's why it happens a lot to these athletes. So he changed to ketogenic diet, and he's fine. He's still racing. It's still, it's never too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, those things are not healthy for you.
Have you got an opinion on the different diets? Like keto versus carnivore versus vegetarian?
Again, it depends what you're trying to achieve. I would not recommend vegan diet to anyone, because if you are on a diet that requires you to supplement with something and you can't cover your nutrients from the diet, that's probably not the best. One example, as we age, from about the age of 20, we produce about 1 to 2% less collagen every year. And then from the age of 40, utilize more. So one of the reasons why we have more wrinkles and more aches and pains in our joints after 40 is because of the lack of, the loss of collagen. And then that gets even worse for women in menopause because of the low estrogen that affects the collagen metabolism. So people that are on vegan diets, they don't have enough collagen because they don't have no collagen. There's no such a thing as a plant collagen, which you can see when you look at people that like older vegan people. You can physically see how they are very slim, their skin is very wrinkled. So that's the only diet I wouldn't recommend. Otherwise, it depends who you are. Like I go on and off carnivore diet, but would I recommend it to everyone? No, because it's very restrictive, but some people need it in order to heal their gut. Ketogenic diet, people that have like epilepsy or people that are in sports where they have high risk of concussion, ketogenic diet is amazing for them. But if you're just someone who doesn't have any illness, you can tolerate all foods and you don't have any specific goals, you just want to be fit and healthy, I don't see the reason of restricting yourself as long as you eat foods that are in their natural form without too many additives.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because nowadays it feels like everything has some form of additive into it.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, again, you can have this fatalistic approach and say, okay, air is polluted, water is polluted. Why would I worry about my food? But the thing is that the toxins have accumulative effect.
Yeah.
And as you age, your body has less and less protection against these toxins. You become more sensitive. So I cannot not breathe the polluted air in Sydney. I'm already doing it. So where I can reduce the toxic load is my food, my water, skincare, hair care, household products. And that combined can make a huge difference.
That's so interesting. I feel like all of a sudden in the past few years, the whole water filtering thing has really taken off.
Yeah, but
in
it
this
makes
country.
common sense because if you think that chlorine is added to water to kill harmful bacteria, which is great, we don't want to get sick. But the chlorine doesn't choose, oh, this bacteria is good, this one is bad. It just kills everything. So glass of chlorinated water is not going to kill you, but if you drink 3 liters of chlorinated water every day, it will affect your gut microbiome.
Yeah.
And it's just one of the chemicals, like fluoride will be another one. Like, you know, so it's just those like little things that if you remove, it might be really beneficial for you. Because if you think that Australia and New Zealand have the highest risk of cancer, and it's not melanoma, it's bowel cancer. And
That's right, yes.
That's probably most likely from food, water, and stress being contributing factor.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because when we had the metro going in, we're here in North Sydney now.
Yeah.
When we had the metro going in, they were drilling big tunnels, obviously underground. And it seems, I don't know, this is my crazy hypothesis, but it seems like it rattled our water lines or our water pipes.
Yeah.
And I filter the water here.
Yeah.
And it comes with this filter and it was coming out orange.
Yeah.
Orange, like it comes when you buy it, it's white, like paper white.
Yeah.
And after probably about a month, it was orange, just
Wow.
loaded with, I don't know, metals, like
No,
a rust.
100%.
Yeah. And
Like-
it was just disgusting. And now it's been far better ever since they finished the metro. But now I'm only getting probably 3 to 6 months out of a cartridge. But when they were doing the metro, it was like 1 month and it was insane.
And it's a common sense, like those pipes are underground.
Sure.
How do they clean them?
Sure.
They either are dirty or they put a whole bunch of chemicals in it to clean them. So it's like, why would you drink it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Tell me about, where did the idea for Chief come from?
Well, that came from that, exactly, because I was a trainer at a gym called Agoja in Bondi, which was owned by my now business partners, Justin and Libby. And I was going to do the Kokoda Trail in Papua New Guinea with a few clients. And you're in the jungle and you actually have to bring your own food. Like you can't, there's no food accessible. You're in jungle. So everything you want to eat, you have to bring. Otherwise, you're not eating. And I didn't know what to bring because I didn't want to eat any protein bars and all those processed snacks that everyone was bringing, you know. And it also needs to be small because you're carrying it. So I didn't know what to bring. And I ended up taking lots of biltong, which is dried meat.
Yep.
So I had like bags with biltong, bags with nuts, and bags with dried berries. And then I ended up mixing it together, making a trail mix, and I loved it. And everyone is like, that's disgusting, meat with nuts and fruit. And then they tried it and they loved it. And I'm like, okay, guys, I don't have enough. I'll eat this myself. Anyway, when I came back, I was talking to Justin and Libby about it, and I was saying, it was great, but it's like was getting really soggy in the heat. It was like going everywhere in my bag. It would actually be great to have a meat bar. I need to find meat bar for like my trail runs and stuff. So I started looking for a meat bar, couldn't find any in Australia. So Justin is like, well, we should make our own. And so, yeah, that was our first product. We had 2 meat bars. We had lamb and we had beef, and it was made from organic meat and nuts and berries.
Was there a specific moment where you were like, okay, I'm going to have to take a risk and jump into this? Or was it just natural?
I think I just trusted Justin so much, and I trusted that he can deliver it because I had no idea what I was doing. And it was just like a side project, and then it developed. And I must say, though, that when we started 10 years ago, there was the biggest vegan wave in Bondi and everywhere in Australia, and there was vegan cafes opening everywhere. And everyone is like, what are you doing? Like, you're trying to sell meat in the midst of everyone being vegan. Everyone was saying how red meat is so bad for you. And for a second we thought we were being crazy, but now look at it. Everyone is going back to eating meat.
Was there any particular moment where you realized that you guys had kind of hit it, like that you had hit strong product to market fit?
I think it took a while. We had few moments. So first, we had a moment at the CrossFit Games in Wollongong where the first batch of bars we got made was 800 bars. And we sold them at the CrossFit Games in one weekend.
Yeah, wow.
And didn't even have proper stall. We had like these plastic stalls, like they do the samplings in supermarkets. So we thought, okay, the CrossFit crowd is our crowd. So that was the first moment. But then we thought we'd just be like stuck with CrossFit because everyone else is vegan. But then it didn't. Then we got into Woolworths 2 years ago. And that was another moment. Actually, Woolies want healthy products because people want healthy products. So yeah, those like few moments. But I think the CrossFit at the start was like a good push, and then the Woolies, showed us that actually people are after healthy products.
How did it feel when Woolies said that they were going to order?
It felt great, but also we were all nervous at the same time because, if anything goes wrong in those big stores, it can cost you the whole business potentially. So yeah, it was like mixed between, nervousness and excitement.
Yeah. And what's the journey been like?
Yeah, it's been great. They only had 2 of our products, then 4, and now they're increasing to 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
right.
So there's you can see there's a demand for healthy stuff, which is good to see.
Yeah. Do you think that for you guys, a lot of that has come from just the category that you're in, or do you think that there's been anything in particular that's kind of pushed people towards your specific products?
I think that there is a lot of movement online coming from America, from Make America Healthy Again, about like food additives and making people aware of how bad the food additives or certain food additives are for you. And it's just all over Insta. When I said to people 10 years ago that emulsifiers are bad for your gut and seed oils are bad for your gut, people thought I was just a crazy Eastern European and I lost it. Now it's every health influencer on Instagram talks about seed oils and emulsifiers and sugar alcohols. So that made it really easy for us. I think we were very ahead of time and people didn't understand and didn't care about what's in their products. And now people started to be more aware and care. And it's all about education and knowledge. When you don't know, you don't care. Sure. And when you know, you care, obviously. Most people do.
Would you give anyone tips on what they should specifically be looking for in food if they're purchasing, or maybe even in bars?
Yeah, so we tell people to become the pack flippers and flip the packet, because the front of the packet, that's the advertising area.
Yeah.
And you can say whatever you want. Like, let's say if I take the shittiest chocolate and put some acai berries in it, I can put at the front of the packaging antioxidant chocolate with acai berries. However, legally at the back of the packaging, I have to list all the ingredients that more than 1% of the product, and the ingredient that's the most represented in the product needs to come first. So if you flip the packaging and your first ingredient is sugar, it means that most of the product is sugar. And then just have a look at the ingredients and see what they are. Like, I would look out for emulsifiers, anti-caking agents, sugar alcohols, artificial sweeteners. Yeah, just have a look at look at the ingredients and see what they are, and if you know them and you understand them, you're probably fine. Sometimes you're not, because sometimes you might think that things are okay, but they're not. We have on the Chief website, which is wearechief.com, a free guide on how to read food labels, so everyone can download it and have a look.
I was about to say, for those that maybe don't know how to read a label, what should I be looking at? How should I interpret the food label? Aside from the things you've just mentioned, what should I be looking at on there?
I would look at the ingredients, because things can have good macros, like they can have good, like let's say a general protein bar, low carb, traditional protein bar is low in carb, high in protein, low in calories, so it seems like it's okay, but then it's got emulsifiers in it which are proven to damage your gut. It's got sugar alcohols which will give you gas and bloating and farts, so things like that. So look at the ingredients rather than the macros.
And the ingredient positioning also makes quite a big difference, right?
Yeah, the positioning. So if the first ingredient listed is nuts, it means that the product's mainly made from nuts. If the last ingredient is nuts, it means that's probably got 1% of nuts in it. So it's like ranked from the first one is being the most, the last one is the least amount.
Yeah. If you could go back, Veronika, and give yourself any advice when you were starting Chief, do you have anything that you would say to yourself?
Probably think about all the ins and outs of the food industry and how difficult it is with all the regulations, how difficult it's going to be with supply chains and with the prices of the ingredients we use, because we use organic grass-fed, grass-finished meat that's regeneratively farmed. So it's very limited source in comparison to factory farmed meat. We use all clean ingredients, like let's say for our lemon bar flavoring, it's not flavoring, it's a lemon oil. So it is, more expensive than just putting shitty lemon flavoring. So yeah, just those kind of things, and maybe just think about it and see if that's what I really want to do.
Is there anything that you'd tell consumers that maybe you don't get to tell them enough?
I think we tell our consumers everything all the time. The question is if they're listening. But yeah, I think I just would like to tell everyone that everything you eat, as much as it's fun and tastes good, essentially it's a building block for your body, for every single cell in your body. And if you put crappy ingredients in your body, you will have crappy health and you will not feel good. So you can't put price on food. Like I grew up in a very modest family, like we never had a lot of money, but my parents always told me, don't save money on food. You need to have good quality food first, and then everything else comes second, because if you don't have your health, nothing else matters. And, people think, oh yeah, I'll just have some chips and Coke and I'll be fine. Yeah, maybe when you're 20, but you're not going to be fine when you're 50, 60 or even 40. So yeah, I think the main thing I'd say to people, food is your fuel and a building block for everything in your body, your nails, your hair, your heart, all your muscles, everything. You just can't build amazing, good quality body and brain without good quality food.
What do you say to people that feel like it's just too overwhelming, the amount of different information and opinions, and influencers have thoughts, and everyone's got an opinion on diet and health now?
Yeah. I would tell people, eat real food and don't overeat, and you'll be fine. Whatever it's in the real form. Like if you just decided even you don't want to eat anything that's in packet and just eat vegetables, meat, eggs, raw dairy, drink water, you'll be fine. If as more you eat stuff from the packet, as higher chances that you're not eating right and you flooding your body with bad ingredients, which is why that was the initial idea behind Chief, because as I'm a nutritionist as well as exercise physiologist, and ideally I would teach everyone how to shop and cook at home, and everyone would be eating steak with veggies and all that. But we live in a society where snacking is a big thing. Everyone is on the go. Everyone is too busy to cook. Everyone wants to just grab and go. And 90% of the things that you can grab and go are full of shit. So we wanted to come up with something that is packaged, but it's made from real ingredients, is not ultra processed, and it's not damaging. It is always better to eat real home cooked meal. I would never tell anyone, oh yeah, just have 2 bars instead of dinner, like doesn't matter. No, it's always better to have real food. But if you can't, or if you don't want to, if you're in a rush or you're in a jungle or you're doing a trek or whatever, I think our products are the second best option after real food.
What advice would you give to someone else that's starting a health food business?
It depends what health food would be, but yeah, just look at all the, I think I'd say how easy it's to be to source the ingredients, if there is a demand in a market, because like let's say with us, we came up with a meat bar in the middle of vegan wave, and we still succeeded, but it probably wouldn't take as long if we chose different timing. So just things like that. Look at trends, look at what's needed, at your ingredients, how easy it is to source them, how expensive, if you can actually make money. Because there's a lot of product ideas that I've had over the years, but you would have to sell the product for like $30 a bar to make money. It's like you also need to be realistic with the finances and things like that.
That's true. Some rapid questions for you, some quick questions.
Yeah.
Favorite holiday destination?
I don't know at the moment. I just love traveling to new places.
Okay.
I loved Africa. I've been to Thailand recently. I don't like to go to the same place. I like exploring. I like the novelty because it opens your mind, and it's like, it just works for me to go always somewhere new.
Favorite artist or song?
I love Michael Jackson. He's not alive anymore, and it's my biggest regret in my life that I never went to see him live. I really love him. Yeah. But I like lots of different music. I love EDM. I love lots of different music. But if it was an artist, it would be Michael Jackson.
Favorite book?
Favorite book? I love Total Recall by Arnold Schwarzenegger, because I don't know anyone else who came from similar environment to mine and made it in top in sports, politics, business, and acting, and still with his bad accent. So I'm like channeling my inner Annie. Yeah.
What's a habit that you've got that you wish more people did?
I think exercise regularly and being consistent, because no matter what, no matter how stressed or how injured I am, I always find the time to exercise. That's my non-negotiable. If I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and at least do like half an hour of something, I always do it every single day. I don't train hard every day, but I do something every day. And I think that's a big problem in our society, that people don't move.
That's true.
Yeah.
What's one life lesson that's had the biggest impact on you?
Maybe first one was the one with my dad, the swimming. And I had lots of different life lessons. Like even coming to Australia and putting myself through uni by myself and paying for it and working at the same time, then trying to get a residency and citizenship here based on my skill. That was a very difficult lesson. I went through a very long stint of domestic violence. That was another lesson. I had so many lessons in my life, so I've learned a lot, yeah.
Veronika, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.